What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Wave Podcast here at the Culture Wave Media Network, and we are back to discuss a plethora of things. This is going to be our first news episode in quite a while. We're trying to do a few more of these going forward. There's a lot of news in the industry. Comic-Con was this past week, so we have some news about castings. There's other castings and other facets of entertainment. A lot of trailers have been dropping. We're quickly entering the end of summer and into award season, so it's going to be a lot of content for you guys upcoming, so I hope you guys have been enjoying, and you guys are going to enjoy this episode. For this, I'm going to be one of your hosts. My name is Darian Scalamoni. I'm joined this time by Liz Seiko.
What's happening?
And Zach Miller.
What's up, man?
The crew is back.
We're back.
It's been a minute. But we're going to discuss, like I said, a lot of different things. Going to go into a lot of different topics. We're going to start with the nerdy stuff first, which we have some videos already on the channel. We covered the Avengers Doomsday trailer. We covered some of the X-Men casting rumors. No X-Men have been revealed as of this recording, but there were 2 new castings in the MCU, so we're going to discuss some of them. We're going to start with Ryan Gosling, who was cast as Ghost Rider for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was revealed as Ghost Rider at San Diego Comic-Con. We're unsure as of right now if he's going to play Johnny Blaze or Danny Reyes, 2 different versions of the character. He looks like the comic version of Johnny Blaze, so most people would assume that's who he's playing. Sean Levy, who just directed him in Star Wars Starfighter, and previously directed another MCU movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, and he did Free Guy. He's going to be directing the movie that comes out in 2028. Jonathan Tropper, who is the showrunner for Your Friends and Neighbors and Banshee. He also wrote Star Wars Starfighter. He's going to write the script. This is really interesting because Gosling came in with a pitch to Kevin Feige, who's like the figurehead of Marvel, the major producer, with Sean Levy, and Feige said that they made the deal in the room after the pitch was heard. There was also a quote from Feige that said, "A lot of it is a strategy we've talked about for a while on focusing on quality. We always try to focus on quality, but when quantity is so much, you get spread thin. We don't want to be spread thin. And Avengers is as important as it comes, and Secret Wars is a setup for itself to the future and what's next." So it was really about landing this movie and the other one we're going to talk about after, setting up 2028. So Marvel has been in this weird place post-Avengers Endgame where some movies are very well received, some of them are completely demolished by critics, and they're not doing well even financially, which they were almost like a guarantee at the box office for a while. But this is a really interesting melding of an actor that has the cachet of Academy Award nominations and bigger movies and playing a character that he's always wanted to play since childhood now coming to life. So Liz, as one of the co-hosts and a newbie to the MCU, starting to dip her toe a little bit into the Marvel world, based on the little bit you know about this character, this story, what are your thoughts? Do you have questions?
Yes.
Okay.
So people probably will hate on me for this. Who's Ghost Rider? What does he do?
Ghost Rider.
I didn't look anything up about him.
Ghost Rider is basically like this dark, fantastical entity who, when he has his powers, he turns into like a flaming skull. So it's not even going to be...
Oh.
It's probably going to be motion capture, I would assume, with the new technology. And he drives a motorcycle. He's a former stunt man. And he's got this big chain, a lot of fire. That's like kind of his big thing. So this is like the 3rd time he's also going to play like a big character on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
A stunt man also. The Fall Guy. He got The Place Beyond the Pines. So it's something that, and I guess he rides a motorcycle in real life. So this is a character that is relatable to him. A lot of his stuff is, like I said, it's more, it trends more towards like dark fantasy horror. Like you can see Guillermo del Toro, if he ever wanted to do something, I feel like would be like a great
that would
choice.
Be interesting.
I mean, a Del Toro Ghost Rider movie would be sick, but like that's kind of the vibe. So,
and is he more considered good, bad, or in between?
He's pretty bad.
He's an anti-hero, I would say, right? He's
Okay.
like along the lines of Deadpool, but and still some humor, but a little bit darker of a character.
Okay.
He's kind of like preying on people. Like, he's definitely dark, and he made a deal with the devil to get his power. Like the powers were accidental from the Nick Cage movies that I remember. But yeah, he's not like a pure hero where he's gonna seek out somebody to beat. It's just kind of like maybe like Punisher, I guess, in a way of like if somebody gets in his way, he's gonna try and beat them. But he's not like a Spider-Man pure hero, that kind of thing. So
Well, I think it sounds good. I mean, I think Gosling already has just like a natural likability to him. So then you pair that with what you guys are telling me the character is based on, and I feel like the combo will be good. I think that also just for like the world of Marvel, it already makes the fans more excited when the person, like the actor, has been wanting to play this character
There's
and
a
is
passion,
already a fan, and it's not just like, oh, smack a big name on this character so that we can get people in chairs. It shows that like Gosling's going to approach this well. He's going to have strong opinions on it, and it's not just going to be a payday for him. It's a passion project.
Yeah, he dropped out of the Daniels next movie for this.
That's
So
big. That's big.
He was and we'll get into that. We're going to talk about this in this episode, but he was the first person they approached for it. They were in negotiations, and I think this came together around the same time and 2028 release date.
Yeah.
So they decided. I'm hoping it's R-rated, Zach. That's where like I lean. I want them to kind of go darker with it because the lore in the comics can be darker. And you've seen at least I know you said you saw the first movie with Nicolas Cage. You said you might have seen both of them, but what are your thoughts on Gosling's casting and what they're going to maybe go forward with this?
I might be in the like small camp, but I don't know if I love Gosling in the MCU just yet. There was all the talks too about the Star Wars universe. Like he is doing the family-oriented movies and stuff, so I'm glad that he's doing brighter films in that way. Ghost Rider, I don't know. Ghost Rider to me also feels like it should be very separate from everything else that's going on in the universe. I don't really see Ghost Rider gelling with like Spider-Man or somebody that's more established already, like, or even like the Thunderbolts at some point. You know, I don't know if it pairs well, so hopefully it's a little bit more solo. I've loved everything that Gosling has been doing. Like Project Hail Mary was a nice mix of like drama but brighter in the long run. And Barbie was awesome. But and then I was listening to a couple of podcasts about this too. Like his edgy movies are what seems to be behind him now at this point, and he's going for popcorn flicks, and he should get his bag, honestly. But you know, the commitment of Marvel seems to be longer and longer for a lot of these stars, and he is Ryan Gosling too. So I feel like they would want to get maybe 2 solo movies, and then he's integrated into the rest of what's happening. But I'm also a little bummed that they're, you know, almost axing Blade, you know, and Mahershala's movie. I really, really love that casting, and I don't know if like Gosling was my pick for Ghost Rider. I don't think that Nick Cage was either, to be honest. But his movies are something else. You guys have to watch them.
I mean, I think based on what I remember people saying that like Nick Cage was great as the character, but the movies didn't really capture the essence of what the comics did. I feel more positive on this, but I understand the concern. Gosling, like you just said, Zach, is the point I was going to bring up. He's fully in franchise mode now. I mean, the last 5 movies he's done, he did Barbie, which again is probably going to span a second movie at some point. The Fall Guy, which was set up as a franchise.
This is Fall Guy 2.
Yeah, this is basically the Fall Guy 2. And then Star Wars again is like that's a big commitment. And according to what Kevin Feige said, the movie is doing really well. And having a Ryan Gosling, Gosling would be the biggest star that Star Wars has ever had that they've implemented. Like Harrison Ford wasn't Harrison Ford when they casted him, and Mark Hamill wasn't Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher, and even Ewan, like to that point, like he was doing Train Spotting when he was cast as Obi-Wan. So I think Gosling is kind of in this direction where, and I hope he's able to balance it. Like I think Sebastian Stan is doing a really good job of this right now, and he might be on the way out as Bucky Barnes in the MCU, but like he had like a 8 movie contract with Marvel, yet he's doing movies like Fresh, and he's doing A Different Man, and I mean now he's doing the Batman, so he clearly likes the world.
And Pattinson,
and Pattinson too. So I hope it's good. Sean Levy is a director. A lot of people are not happy. A lot of people do not like him as a director. I think he's fine. I liked Deadpool and Wolverine. I think he's a director that, you know, the good thing about it is that, like you said, Zach, the Blade movie, there was so much controversy because Mahershala was casted 7 years ago. They brought 4 different directors in. Nobody could crack it the way Mahershala wanted, and they basically were like, this isn't going to happen. And so I think at least bringing in somebody that Gosling has a relationship with and they have the pitch together, it's going to come to fruition. This isn't going to be something that just sits there. But it's going to be interesting to see Gosling also being mixed in with a lot of these younger actors and seeing how he gels with them if they decide to go in that direction. But that was not the only big Marvel announcement. It might have even been dwarfed by the second announcement, which was Ryan Coogler, first movie post Sinners, Academy Award. He's returning to do the third Black Panther movie called, as of right now, Black Panther 3. I'm sure we'll get a subtitle. He will once again write and direct this movie. It's going to be the first Marvel film shot on larger format celluloid film, which he made as a point of emphasis. I am pretty positive, this hasn't been announced, I don't think yet, but I had seen somewhere that Autumn Durald Arkapaw is supposed to be the cinematographer on this, who just won the Academy Award for Sinners. And the biggest news coming out of this was that the T'Challa's son, obviously the death of Chadwick Boseman, they decided to go in a different direction with Wakanda or they had to go in a different direction for Wakanda Forever. That young up-and-coming actor David Jonsson is going to be playing T'Challa's son. Letitia Wright and Winston Duke are going to return as Shuri and M'Baku. And Denzel Washington actually said last year when he was on a press tour for Gladiator 2 that he is working with Coogler next, and he's going to be in Black Panther 3. So it hasn't been confirmed by the trades, but it's out of Denzel's mouth.
Okay.
So Denzel will most likely probably be a villain if I had to guess. And this movie has a release date. It's going to come out December 15th, 2028. Coogler did film his X-Files show, the reboot in between. So we're going to see something else from Coogler. But Zach, starting with you, Black Panther 3, are you a fan of the franchise? Do you like this move? Do you like the casting of Johnston? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, Coogler's had like one of the more successful branches of the MCU with Black Panther. Black Panther, the first one, was such a big success. I think the second one, I honestly haven't seen the full thing, but I do feel like there is still a big attachment to me with Chadwick Boseman in the first role. I think it's nice that they recasted it as like T'Challa's son, and they're moving the mantle ahead with the characters. But there is an attachment for me with Chadwick Boseman, and I just hope that they don't fall into the Spider-Man trap a little bit of like, let's pack other Avengers and other people into this movie. Like, I just kind of like them making a movie exclusively for one hero, plus maybe like one or two people that help them. But I don't like an hour of the movie where they're learning about this other person and like, should we fight each other? And then let's go fight our villain. Like that just seems very recycled. So Coogler has a good head on his shoulders. He's shooting large format. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I there was something else I was gonna say, but I feel like that is a good move. Denzel as the villain, I'm game for, man. I mean, that should be really cool. I'm down for that.
Somebody did say they were saying on Twitter, they said Denzel would not do an accent for Gladiator 2, so don't expect him to do an African accent for Black Panther 3, which I thought was really funny, and it is true. He was like, nah, it's not gonna happen. But Liz, you've seen both Black Panthers or just the first one, or
just the first one?
Just the first one. Okay, so yeah, Coogler did the last one as well, and I know it was something where he said, when Chadwick went, it was hard to kind of crack the story, obviously, using your lead character. But he did find a good way in. They introduced, Shuri becomes the new Black Panther, his younger sister, and they bring in an aquatic character named Namor, who has like a bigger role in the comics, but I think he's going to go forward with Fantastic Four. There is a rumor that Storm might be in this movie because Storm and Black Panther have a relationship in the comics. So we might see a little bit of X-Men stuff kind of in that. Halle Berry originally played Storm in the X-Men movies. But Liz, first of all, does this make you want to see the second movie going into the third as a fan of Coogler as a director? And what do you think about David Jonsson kind of coming in and taking over this role, if you've seen anything? Because I actually haven't seen anything he's worked on yet. I've just heard from a lot of people that he's a fantastic actor, so I'm excited about it for that.
I think he's great. So I have a couple of thoughts and some questions.
Yeah.
So my first instinct is, yes, based on his casting, it makes me now want to go back and watch the second one and see this, because I've seen Industry, which he's in, and then I just actually watched The Long Walk that he was also in. That
apparently Coogler had said on stage that's the reason he got cast in this role.
He's just a strong presence on the screen. So I'm interested to see how he now navigates being in the Marvel world. But question now for you, because I did see some things online about some people being a little like disappointed that we're now doing like instead of following Shuri, right?
We're following
him.
T'Challa's son.
So some people I think are a little upset about that. But are you surprised that they are? Or what,
I'm not surprised.
What's like the story behind that?
I'm not surprised. There hasn't been any story details released on the movie yet, so it's not like we don't know who's going to be the POV of the movie. We have no idea. Shuri was the main POV of the second film, but I do think that Coogler. I think the biggest thing I don't want to speak for Ryan Coogler, so Ryan, if you're watching, sorry, but my biggest thing is like I think that the main reason he signed on to Black Panther is because he felt so connected to the character of T'Challa. And Shuri does become Black Panther in the comics, but it's a very different kind of arc. And I think that the unfortunate reality of Chadwick's passing, and it was like the movie was already announced when Chadwick died. And then they pushed things back a little bit, but he went in with a different mentality on how he wants to do the movie. I think Shuri is a character that it's very divisive. I think Letitia Wright does a great job in the role, but I think that coming out of Wakanda Forever, which is the second movie, some people came out of it being like, oh, I like her as Black Panther, and some people came out of it being like, I don't really love it. And I think that I think that Coogler wrote himself an exit strategy by at the end of that movie introducing T'Challa's son, because Lupita Nyong'o's character, who he was in a relationship with, they had a baby together, and he was like in hiding, and she meets him at the end of the movie. And so regardless of what they do, if this is T'Challa's son, they have to there has to be a time jump.
Yeah.
Because David Jonsson can't play a character younger than 20, I would imagine.
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up too. It was the time jump. Do you think that affects the MCU and how, like, is this going to be, you bring in the time jump, is this like after Secret Wars or during Secret Wars?
The movie comes out after Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And we're going to get very nerdy, folks, so dive in with us. I think Secret Wars is essentially going to set a soft reboot of everything, to where some characters are going to live on in this new world and some aren't. And I don't know how they're going to do that. I wonder if they're going to do like a beginning of Black Panther 3 where it takes place in the immediate after like Secret Wars, and Shuri and M'Baku were still there, and then they wind up aging them up. Like they cast actors to age them up as well. There has been literally zero plot details revealed about this movie so far. All they did was just announce Johnston, and they announced the movie. It wasn't even announced until Comic-Con. Coogler said it's going to be the next thing he goes into. I'd imagine they probably start filming in the beginning of next year. I would imagine that would give them, if they film for 6 months, it would give them a little bit over a year to finish post. But it's a big question, Zach, obviously, right? Because like I said, like you can't cast David Jonsson as a teenager. I mean, he's not a teenager.
No.
He's very young looking, obviously, and he's a young man. I think he's in his like young 20s. But it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go with it, because there's going to obviously have to be a time jump. But I'm excited. I like the Black Panther films a lot. They're the only movies that have ever won Academy Awards in the Marvel world. And Coogler obviously is, I mean, Coogler's never been hotter in his entire career.
True.
Coming off of Sinners. So
David Jonsson's also 32.
That's crazy.
He
was like
25.
32. He does not look 32. Good for you, David Jonsson, young man. All right, we transition from geeky, nerdy stuff to very business-like, very serious topics.
Wow.
Here on the Cinema Wave podcast. There was a lot of news leading up to this. We didn't cover this a ton on the channel, but Netflix tried to buy Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers walked away from the deal with Netflix.
Yep.
Paramount tried to buy Warner Brothers. Where we are at right now is that the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers has been halted at least until next June, which would be June of 2027. A federal judge is reviewing the lawsuit from state attorneys that are protesting the deal as a conglomeration. It will not move forward until at least June 1st, 2027. California and 11 other states have filed against Paramount for this deal. Now, there was a lot in the news when this was happening. A lot of scared people in the industry, rightfully so, about what would this mean for jobs, what would this mean for content, what would this mean for the output of films and artistry and all of that stuff. I think this is good news, This is something where the states are kind of fighting back, and they understand that enough is enough. I mean, Disney bought Fox, and there's been so much consolidation in the industry in the last 30 or 40 years that we need more things like A24 and like Neon and these other focus features, all these things that are on the up and up. And it's interesting when some of these bigger distributors are crafting out these little like niche companies that they swallow up, or that like now like I believe it's Warner Brothers that has Clockwork that's going to do like the low budget movies with Sean Baker, and they just announced their next movie with Mary Bronstein, who did If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. Like, I don't want to say get rid of blockbusters, because you need them. It balances out the industry, and those movies still do very well, and we'll get into that too at the box office. Zach, I know you want to talk about that, but I think that it would be a great thing for everybody if this deal did not go through. So, Liz, when you hear this news that the merger's halted, or just in general with the Paramount Warner Brothers stuff, what are your 2 cents?
I mean, I agree with everything that you said. I think that it's scary for everybody to hear, because it's truly, I mean, I grew up playing the game of Monopoly, and like, it's true. Once somebody starts just taking all the properties and it becomes one entity, there's not really an even playing field anymore, and you can't really have the small art house production companies come out and be able to compete. So I think that by them pushing it a year is good, but a lot can happen when things are pushed out of people's minds. And so I just hope that the states and everybody can kind of stay on top of this and not just let it get forgotten about, and then all of a sudden a deal happens because the eyes aren't on it anymore.
Yeah. Zach?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, I feel like it's gonna happen with the June timeline that they're talking about. They're just reviewing it. I would be shocked like, there's so much money in play, and there's so many people everywhere for big business. It's hard to believe that even if the lawsuit wins, maybe they would buy it for a lesser price, or lesser entities of Warner Brothers and stuff. Like, maybe they would split Warner Brothers and buy part of it. I feel like conglomeration is inevitable with this deal. It is scary because, you know, like the whole argument from like the guilds and the unions and stuff like that is that their contracts are in jeopardy. The streamers are taking over a lot. Theaters can be dying if these types of things happen. I think obviously consolidating all of these things, you're going to have impact on the theaters. We've seen that already, the scale and how things are measuring and bringing in box office and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, streaming and the way that things are consolidating, it's becoming more apparent that the bigger the companies are, the easier it is for them to manipulate their audiences, and then they can put a lot of stuff just at home and they can show you what they want. It doesn't have to be quality anymore. I think Netflix is a good example of that. I think starting out, they had really sharp award-winning TV shows, and now there's maybe like one every 35 shows that they have that's like award worthy, I guess. And then same thing with their movies. So I think the more that Warner Brothers folds into that, like, yes, they're very historic and prominent studios that have been there for over 100 years now in Hollywood, but combining that and having one person in the chair over two major studios is going to filter down a lot of ideas and water down the quality output. And it's only been better for Hollywood when there's more studios with different creative ideas and directions and that kind of thing. Like the whole DC versus Marvel and Warner Brothers managing that versus Marvel managing their own superheroes. It's a nice competition. Warner Brothers has been tanking that a lot in the last decade, but there's a lot of those factors that you need competition against each other. So I think that this is just going to be not good in the long run. You know, even if Paramount doesn't buy it, I feel like there could be another bid on it from somebody else, and maybe Netflix comes back to the table. Like, this is just so wacky, but there's so much money in play. We've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, there's a lot of money at play, even if it doesn't go through too, because I think if it doesn't wind up happening, which I agree, Zach, I do think it's inevitability. It's kind of just kicking the can down the road and seeing what happens. There's like a buyout or not a buyout, but I guess it's like a termination fee.
Mm.
If the termination happens, Paramount owes like $9 billion and Netflix gets like $3 billion.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
they had the deal done first before Warner Brothers decided, before they were fully done with the deal, because they were also being evaluated by the courts that they were going in a different way. So it's going to be very interesting
Yeah.
to see kind of where the industry
What
goes
happens.
in a year. But we got a lot of other movies to talk about in the meantime, including the return of the Mummy franchise, which is one that is near and dear to Zach's heart. So we'll definitely kick it off with him in a minute. But a new casting, first new casting member, Michael Johnston, who played Bear in Obsession, biggest movie of the year, arguably one of the biggest movies of the year. He's joining Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, who's returning for this movie. It's a film from Universal. Universal has really reversed their fortunes with the acquisition of Christopher Nolan since Oppenheimer. I feel like that, and they've made some great deals as of late. They signed the Daniels to a picture deal as well, so they're going to have their next movie. This is one of their franchises. Matt Bettinelli, Olpen, and Tyler Gillette, who they're known as Radio Silence. They've done a lot of recent horror movies that you guys have probably heard of and seen. They did the Ready or Not movies. They did the Scream reboot, Scream 6. They did Abigail, which is a movie I really enjoy. They're going to be directing, and it's from a script from David Coggeshall, who did The Family Plan and Orphan First Kill, and this is coming out in October of 2027. So filming is probably going to begin soon. The rumor is that Johnston is playing Brendan Fraser's son in the film.
Fun.
I think they look a decent amount alike, so I think that works. But
Ooh.
Zach,
Oh.
So there's one thing that so Brendan Fraser's son is he's older. He's probably in his mid-20s or early 30s in the third movie.
okay.
So if they do another time jump, which they probably will have to, he would be in his 40s or so. So maybe he's not. But Rachel Weisz's character Evie has so John Hannah plays her character brother,
Okay.
Jonathan. So maybe he has a kid. I don't know. Maybe that's one small theory, but
Interesting.
I don't know. He's a good pick for in addition to this cast. But yeah, the Mummy movies is like not perfect movies, man, but these are great monster movies. Hottest cast of all time, easily. Brendan Fraser in the 90s, Rachel Weisz, Oded Fair, who plays Ardeth, who is the fucking most badass guy I've ever seen in the desert. He's protecting the mummy tomb. He's awesome. But yeah, so there's a lot with the first two movies of the Mummy. I watch those all the time. I have a lot of friends that watch those too. And the third one was a little bit of a disappointment. Jet Li plays the mummy when they go to China. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that one. But then they also did the Tom Cruise Mummy. They just did Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which is a totally different thing. But I'm really glad that if they're going to keep this like type of franchise going, Lee Cronin's was a different direction.
Yeah.
They did a little bit more like an exorcism with the mummy stuff. This is more like an undead monster is coming, and then they just were treasure hunters and they stumbled on this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is I like the direction that they're going in. I'm curious if they're gonna bring back the original mummy in the first two movies, although it would kind of be a little silly because they killed him twice. So if they kill him
But
a
he's
third
a mummy.
Yeah, he's a mummy.
He's a mummy. So
yeah, no, it's a whole like I don't know. It depends on wherever they go, but yeah, these have been like just sleeper classics for me forever. So I love these movies.
Well, Liz and I have not seen any of these movies, but Michael Johnston's casting, does it get you excited? This is going to be his first thing, I believe, post Obsession. So he's going the franchise route. I mean, it makes sense. He's probably went from making scale to maybe $1 million on this movie.
Let him get that money. Let him get that bag.
But what are your thoughts on this and even the direction they're going in with having kind of a horror duo, maybe helm this and maybe balance the tone of what it could be?
Yeah, I mean, I have like no real opinions because I don't know anything about the films. Like the only knowledge I have is I went on the ride at like Universal and did it after eating and got like a little nauseous. So like that's my only like relevance to this. Are the original films like scary, or is it just like adventure?
No, they're not scary. They're just kind of like
PG-13 horror.
yeah,
right?
yeah, and they're like there's like monstery gore-ish moments, like things that all of the travelers, like the mummy messes with all the people that like
Okay.
screwed with his tomb. Like he has to like basically take pieces of people to like reincarnate himself fully. He's like
Okay.
frail and fragile muscle tissue, and he's like, I'm gonna start like sucking the soul out of live people.
Oh.
So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the first movie. Second movie, a little bit of that happens. And the second movie, they set up the Scorpion King, which is some of the worst CGI you will possibly see.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it is
That's the scene
Dwayne
I have.
Johnson with long locks. This is when he
This is
was
his first
starting
movie,
out.
I
Oh,
think.
wow.
Yeah. And this inspired a whole separate Egyptian movie called The Scorpion King.
Led by Dwayne The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. So that which is not good at all. Don't watch that. But the first two Mummy movies, you guys have homework. You have to watch those. Yeah.
I'm gonna see the movies in anticipation. I've heard the first one is very, very good. They're more, I feel like, on the tone of like something like a National Treasure, but a little bit
Yes.
more.
This is truly, anytime I think of the Mummy, I don't know why, but it really is like, I feel like they're cousins in a way.
Basically, probably.
Is it funny? Like, does it have
Yes.
like comedy in
It's
it?
very
Okay.
funny. They're all lovable characters. There's like Rick is like Harrison Ford, kind of like badass. Like I'm gonna beat people up, and like he is all like a lot of like whimsy between the characters. Like Evie's brother Jonathan is like the ditzy, like stupid guy on the trip. He's like the sidekick, like, oh no, I'm falling into the situation. And then you have Rachel Weisz, who's like the dreamboat, but she's like an Egyptian scholar, so she like is translating a lot of stuff along the way. She's like studied a lot of this. And then there's like the band of treasure hunters that are like greedy and stuff like that. But then there's funny moments like Benny, like all these funny things that him and Brendan Fraser had this whole history together, and he's like just this seedy, like crappy guy, and he's like always beating him up, and that like there's a lot of fun stuff.
Okay.
Like it's very entertaining. I think
Nice.
you'll have a good time.
I like this for Michael Johnston. I think this will be a good kind of franchise for him to go into.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of opportunity for him to work alongside an Oscar winner and an Oscar nominee and Rachel Weisz. So I'm interested. I'm going to see the first two movies and kind of see where they go. But good for Michael Johnson's next thing post Obsession. This next story is probably my favorite on the list. The Daniels, who have not made a movie since their Oscar-winning Best Picture win, Everything Everywhere All at Once, back in 2022. They finally have their next movie. It's been on the schedule for a little bit. I think it got pushed once because they were having trouble cracking a story that they wanted, and boy, do they have a very interesting pitch. So Matt Damon, obviously, The Odyssey's the biggest movie in theaters. If you haven't seen it, you're living under a rock. Go and check it out. But Matt Damon's been doing a lot of press, as has the rest of the cast. And so he was interviewed on a show recently. I believe, I think he might have been on the Rich Eisen show. And he described the pitch that he got from the Daniels, because he is one of the main cast members in this film who stepped in for Ryan Gosling. I heard the rumor was that it was offered to Gosling. He dropped out because of Ghost Rider. It was offered to Keanu Reeves. He had to drop out because of scheduling conflicts, and then it went to Damon. So that very, very different kinds of actors that they're kind of searching. I believe he probably will be like a mentor type of character. But the reason I'm so excited about the story is because it's another sci-fi movie from them, and he described the pitch as this. He said, they pitched it to me as if it was The Breakfast Club meets Inception, meets an anime film that meets an episode of The John Oliver Show that didn't get aired. So if you liked Everything Everywhere All at Once and all the wildness and all the heart, I think you'll really like this one. It's a very special project. So Damon, I believe, is done with his press at this point. Next week, they're going to start filming. Damon is in this movie alongside Sandra Oh, probably best known for Killing Eve and Grey's Anatomy. Charles Melton, hot new star, doing a lot of things. Michael Gandolfini, Pink Panthers, the rap star in her film debut.
Okay.
As well as led by a young cast, which has a lot of up-and-coming young actors. Sean Kaufman, who's been in The Summer I Turned Pretty and For All Mankind. Sylvia D'Anicio from Task. Jackson Kelly from The Pit. Karis Brooks from My Old Ass and Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and Talia Dudek from The Running Man and Carrie. The movie will release on November 19th of 2027. Again, makes sense why they're starting filming soon. This is going to have probably a decent amount of effects and a big jump in budget, I would imagine, from, I believe the Everything Everywhere All at Once might have been like maybe a $40 million budget, maybe 30. And I believe this movie that they're making is going to be closer to a $150 million budget. So having said that, Zach, what do you think about this insane, batshit crazy pitch that Matt Damon heard from the Daniels?
Yeah, if anyone can pull this off, it's probably the Daniels with the way that Everything Everywhere All at Once went. They have a really good understanding of world building and how to not overwhelm an audience, I guess. I'm really interested with The Breakfast Club meets Inception. I guess that's like teen drama chemistry meets A Big Worlds, something like that. So they didn't add anything about actual story details?
Not as of now, but again, I think all those young cast members, like you were kind of assuming, I believe that they're really the leads of the movie. And they're the ones driving the story and the adventure, I guess, forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a Magic School Bus where like they get sucked into like a book and then like...
I mean, I'm here for an adult-centric Magic School Bus directed by the Daniels, dude.
That would be it. That's
cool.
all I need.
Yeah. I think their tonality and comedy too is why I feel like when he brings up the John Oliver show, like it's probably such an unbelievably bombastic, colorful movie that has so much, again, like specificity and originality to what they do.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, like I love Everything Everywhere All at Once so much that I'm so in on anything and everything they do until they completely, which it's kind of crazy because I absolutely hate Swiss Army Man. I do not like that movie whatsoever. The first movie they did. But I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. But yeah, I mean, I think it could be really interesting in this direction they're going.
Yeah, it could be really interesting, but it also could be
it could be
a flop.
Yeah,
because it took them a little bit of time to get this like together. Could either be a really good or bad thing. It could mean that they like really wanted to take their time with it, flesh it out fully, or it could be like that they had problems and getting the script fully together. Maybe it's slightly concerning that they jumped from 3 different main actors that all have very different tones. And I think that so I think some of the success for Everything Everywhere All at Once was that people went into it being like, we have no idea what this is, but let's go experience it. My fear is even if they do a really great follow-up, people have high expectations now, and so they're gonna go in expecting something, and like if it doesn't hit the mark or blow people out of the water, it's still gonna get a negative opinion.
Yeah, my biggest concern is not Damon necessarily or that role, because I think it's more of like a whimsical mentor, and Damon, I actually think like this could be like Damon going against type for the first time and doing a really great job.
I'm also sure that it's something very fun after coming off of the Odyssey.
100%.
Yeah.
That grueling experience.
Literally.
My biggest concern or worry, I should say, is that you really got to get the audience behind these kids, because if they're not, this movie will... That's where I think the crash and burn happens. I don't have a personal experience seeing any of these actors with the exception of Sylvia, who we really enjoyed in Task. And Karis Brooks, who I actually loved in My Old Ass. She played like her best friend that was in town with her. You saw My Old Ass, didn't you?
No.
Maisie Stella? I
did not.
So I liked both of them a lot, and I think both of their personalities serve well to doing something like this. Sean Kaufman is on a lot of casting lists right now. He also just got cast in the next movie from the Coda director. And he's the leader of this group, I believe, and he's an Asian... actor who, again, like the Daniels, they like to work with Asian actors. Also, that's why they have Sandra Oh and Charles Melton in this movie as well. So, I mean, I'm on board.
You're not excited about Pink Pantheress?
I don't have an opinion on Pink Panthers. I've seen Pink
Zach,
Panthers.
You know who she is.
I've seen her on social media.
You guys don't know that? You don't?
No.
I've seen her on social media. I think she has a very big personality, and I think she's hilarious. I'm not saying I think she could do.
She was on that huge. Oh, she had the big song with who's the girl that popped off for Midnight Sun? Come on, you guys are like.
No, this is like you with the MCU.
God.
There's so many
you guys,
questions.
You know, get cultured. We're on the culture wave.
This is
My
this
God.
is very uncultured of us.
This is very uncultured of us. Are you excited for Pink Panthers' addition to the cast?
I wouldn't say excited. I would say intrigued.
Yeah, could be interesting.
She's not a very big personality person, like from what I see.
In interviews, she's hilarious.
Yes, but I don't. I would never put her as like one of the people. Like she's not the first singer that in my mind's like, oh yes, crossover as actress.
Yeah, I would agree with that based on what I've seen of her.
Yeah,
but
we'll see though. We'll see.
I think my only thing that I've noticed recently is like looking at the list of these people. I've noticed some ensemble friend group movies where they cast actors that are very much their own persona, and like they're also established where we've seen them in a lot of stuff. So like we kind of feel like, oh, this is what I'm used to seeing the person in as. Mm-hmm. Then you get a 5-person friend group, and I just don't believe that they would all be friends with each other necessarily. Like even Charles Melton against Michael Gandolfini. Do I believe that guy would be friends with that guy? I don't know. It depends on how they do it. But like sometimes they like in high school movies or something like that too, they will have like somebody who's very over here, and they try and play a stereotype, or they're like, oh, we've been best friends since we've been 6 years old. But I don't feel that energy sometimes. So, and if it's Breakfast Club, maybe they're supposed to be very different people.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not best. Maybe they're all just thrown into a situation together, and they're not actually like friends.
Yeah. So maybe it's something along those lines. But yeah,
maybe they all hate each other.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll have to see how the dynamic works.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting. But from one weird movie to another weird movie, this next film is the follow-up to A24's The Smashing Machine. And I say that because this is the reteaming of Benny Safdie and Dwayne The Rock Johnson for a film called Lizard Music. This was announced. This is literally announced last year when I was at TIFF, and I went to a Q&A with Benny and Dwayne, and they announced the movie to the whole crowd. It's apparently a very beloved children's book.
Oh.
So this is a very different direction coming off of The Smashing Machine. The movie will follow a boy played by Theo Lieber who is left to his own devices, who stumbles upon a secret late-night broadcast of lizards playing otherworldly music when a hidden door to the extraordinary swings open. This sounds like a Daniels movie. His search for the answers leads him to an eccentric and old man over 150 years old, nicknamed the Chicken Man, who will be played by Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This is, again, a fictional tale. And his beloved companion, there you go, 111-year-old chicken named Claudia. I'm sorry, I messed that up. So I don't believe the Chicken Man is over 100 years old, but his chicken is. Two kindred spirits who found each other just at the right time. This sounds insane, right? United by his shared vision, they set off on an adventure that begins as a hunt for a hidden society, but it blossoms into something far greater, a voyage, yada, yada, yada. This movie is written and directed by Benny Safdie. As I said, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, new actor Theo Lieber, who they found, 11-year-old boy. He is going to play the young man. Alicia Silverstone and Tim Heidecker were cast in this movie last week, and recently Regina Hall was added to the cast. This might be, I believe, her first thing post One Battle as well. So, Liz, let's talk about lizard music. What are your thoughts on this insane-sounding movie and the reteaming of Dwayne Johnson and Benny Safdie?
It's just like way too much. Like I'm not on board with it. I just find if I am having trouble just following the description and the like tagline, I'm not gonna be able to follow the movie. And like just from what I'm looking up, lizard music, like it looks like a very animated like picture book. So it's like, is this going to be very is it going to be more like children focused? Fantastical, like
imagining. A24 also very interesting direction.
I just also like I don't know if I would like if I picture like The Rock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
This is Amazon MGM. This is not A24.
That'd be good.
Oh, that's even worse for
Zach.
me. Dude, that's
Yeah.
even worse.
It ain't gonna be good.
Amazon has not handled these very well. And I mean, Benny kind of has, but I'm reading something about the Chicken Man. I'm picturing Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, 111 years old with a terrible white wig, stuck
Yep.
in a door, and like
But wearing brown and khakis.
Yeah.
Yes,
why
yes.
are we?
And in one scene, definitely shirtless, like 100%.
Yes, this is not. No, like I will watch this for our podcast purposes, but this is probably the least marketable movie I've seen in the last like 5
You
years.
know who needs to play the Chicken Man? They need to do a recast. Willem.
Dafoe. I was just thinking.
Literally, Zach.
Yes.
Willem.
Willem would be.
Done.
I think
What? Welcome to the casting
Willem
agency.
would be. I don't think I could ever see Willem doing something that's like for children. Has he,
He
ever?
did Legends of Ochi recently with
I didn't- I
A24.
didn't-
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was
And he's done other
I'm gonna look.
even Florida Project. He's kind of like a dad.
I mean,
figure.
Florida.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
like-
him in Florida Project
Yeah.
so much. I mean, I'll say this: it's a very bold next movie for both of them. I
Yeah.
think for Dwayne. I mean, Dwayne's gonna have Jumanji open world in between. I thought that trailer was complete dog shit, by the way. The interesting thing to me is that like it's very obvious that Dwayne Johnson really wants to subvert his career. I mean, he did Moana, the live action, which that was a whole different thing. I think that movie he was already signed up for before Smashing Machine even came together. But after Jumanji, his next movies that he has all lined up in pre-production, Benny Safdie again. He's working with Darren Aronofsky and Martin Scorsese. So
right. Yeah.
all of that is he's and he said this at least in the Q&A I went to at TIFF last year that he really has enjoyed, like he enjoyed the awards circuit. He liked being a part of those conversations and having interactions with actors that care about the craft.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Come on.
But I do agree with Zach. This really might be the least marketable movie I've heard in a very long time. I don't know who this movie's for. Again, I have a few people I follow in the industry just on Twitter who actually have said like they're huge fans of the book when they were children. But again, don't know how that works for Dwayne Johnson. Does he bring the life of Maui to live action for this? But then we just saw that failed with Moana. So I don't know where they go with this movie. For Regina Hall, good for you, girl. I guess.
How is she fitting into this?
Maybe she's a fan of the book and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it for my like inner child."
Yeah.
But,
or they
like-
gave her a little bit of extra cash.
That too. Or maybe she just wants to work with a Safdie.
That's also true. I mean, again, the Benny part of it is at least
Is
the
allure.
most interesting thing to me. I did enjoy Smashing Machine probably more than most people. I don't necessarily know if the biggest part of that movie that I loved was actually Benny though. His direction, I should say. So it's gonna be an interesting movie. I don't really know what else to say about it. I feel like
Dude,
we're gonna have to wait and see. The first time we see the Chicken Man in a trailer, we're gonna see what it does for Zach. I mean, you might be very excited,
Bro,
about it.
I mean, listen, like all I could say is even Dwayne doing the Martin Scorsese movie, he's trying to take these swings now with the Smashing Machine, and then he went back to Moana, which is really flopping hard, box office and
Critically,
everything
yeah. about
about the movie. I've heard bad things. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen clips and the CGI's and like all these things. He's still a box office bankable actor. To me, it's like you got your pieces, right? Like with Amazon, you got Benny Safdie. He's had a couple of critical successes. You got Amazon with The Rock. Like, oh yeah, he's a box office hit. So they got these good pieces, right? And then, oh yeah, we're basing it off of IP. Yeah, that's another good thing that might bring in an audience is IP and things that people know. Those are all pieces to a formula, but the formula is going to come out like some code error at the end. Like it's just not going to add up at the end, I think. And then you get Regina Hall, great actress, right? But like, how does she fit into this? You're talking about like, it's Benny Safdie. I don't think it's going to be like a kid's movie, you know? Like if it's something kids related, get The Rock maybe and get Regina Hall, but I don't see how Benny Safdie fits into adapting it.
I think the best case scenario for this movie is if it has the tone of a Wes Anderson movie. If they can somehow capture that,
Yeah.
where it like walks the balance, it could be interesting. But I don't know if Benny has that in him. I just don't know if he has it in him. But who knows? It's a property that he's loved since he was a kid, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go from there. But from one director to another, coming off of the success, critical and financial as of right now, with The Invite, Lucky Chap is producing a film that Olivia Wilde is going to be directing next. I don't remember what. Let me click on the article really quick. I'm trying to figure out what distributor this is with. This is Universal again. Look at Universal. So many announcements this week. Olivia Wilde following up The Invite with a Christmas movie starring Jennifer AnistoN and Peter Dinklage. This was the casting, I believe, was yesterday. Lucky Chap again producing, which is Margot Robbie's production company. The movie is releasing on November 5th, 2027. It is a Christmas movie with Aniston playing a character named Mallory, whose only hope of securing custody of her son from her gaslighting ex is to find Santa Claus, who's going to be played by Peter Dinklage, and convince him to testify at her divorce hearing. This movie is written by Jimmy Warden, who previously wrote Cocaine Bear and Borderline. Aniston, according to sources, dropped out of the Jeanette McCurdy Apple series I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead, based on her memoir, to be in this movie. This was my least favorite news of the week, I think. Now, Olivia Wilde was signed up to do this movie pre The Invite. The Invite is one of my absolute favorite movies of the year. I think it's Olivia Wilde's strongest directorial effort. I understand, again, as we've been saying throughout this whole podcast, for a lot of these stories, get the bag. Get it. Totally get it. This story doesn't sound good to me at all. I did not like Cocaine Bear. Maybe Jimmy Warden could be a director or a writer that
You didn't? You didn't
possessed.
like Cocaine
No,
Bear?
was not a fan at all.
I had a good time watching
It's
it.
fine. It's really
You have to
not.
go in with that mentality though, of like, I'm
I
gonna
did.
watch like a shit movie.
I did, but there was parts of it that I wasn't for me. Bless you.
Thank you.
Christmas movie. Jennifer AnistoN is the lead. I don't think she's the strongest actor. And I actually was really, really excited to see her be in I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead.
Me too.
So that I feel like she made maybe a mistake potentially. Also, she had a working relationship with Apple from the morning show. I don't know what's up with that. I'm a huge Peter Dinklage guy. I really like him. Him in this role too, though. I just don't know. I don't even know how the chemistry kind of adds up with those two. So I don't know. This is like a definite thumbs down for me all across the board, personally.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
I don't know. It's just confusing because it's like, okay, Olivia Wilde, when you do like the comparison of Olivia Wilde with the like synopsis, then it makes it seem like, okay, it's going to be a very like realistic, like hard conversations are had and very like, I don't know, like a day-to-day conversation of like divorce, especially after like from her personal life. She could probably relate to it a lot. But then you throw in who actually wrote it. And then you're like, so this isn't going to be a very realistic storyline. Like it's probably going to be gimmicky and jokey and like
Christmassy.
a Christmassy.
I wonder if it might be R-rated.
I mean, it has to be.
Yeah,
Like,
it's called Naughty. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have a rating. The movie hasn't been shot yet, but I think it's probably going to be a raunchy kind of Christmas movie.
That's what I'm thinking too. But Lucky Chap is also producing it, so like that confuses me a little bit because like I love a lot of what they produce, so like maybe I will end up loving this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just gonna be a Christmas movie that none of us have ever seen before, and it's gonna hit the mark.
That'd be great. I mean, Christmas movies are a subgenre that I feel like we haven't had, other than animation. Personally, I haven't seen a Christmas movie.
Holdovers.
Yeah, but Holdovers is it's not. It wasn't made with the intention of being a Christmas movie. Even Alexander Payne said, like, I remember I feel like we talked about this when we covered the Holdovers the first year we were doing the podcast. But we were talking about how this movie is cozy, and Alexander Payne's like, I fucking hate that people call this movie.
Literally.
So, like, he did not want that at all. But I agree with you. Now that's a movie in my lexicon that I love to watch for the holidays. But, like, I would love to add another Christmas movie to the rotation of, like, Home Alone and Elf. And, like, I hope you're right. But Zach, what do you think about the news of the movie Naughty getting started on production soon?
When I was listening to a podcast of Olivia breaking down more of her approach to the invite, she was saying a lot of the choices she made in the invite would not have been done in a studio format. Like the invite was made independently, and then it was in the festival, and it was picked up at Sundance. So now that she has a studio-backed Christmas movie that just like you're saying too, the last iterations of that have been historically poor. We've had things like Red. What's the other? They're the bad Santa movies are like.
I kind of like Bad Santa.
Well, bad Santa's fun, but
I have a good time watching those.
There's another Netflix one with The Rock.
The Amazon one.
Yeah.
Red one.
Red one. Yeah, not good. There's been a lot of those, so I'm worried because it's coming from a studio, they will bulldoze through a lot of ideas through the Olivia Wilde filter.
But I think it's Lucky Chap's first Christmas
probably
movie.
Again,
That's
they don't make a lot of them anymore.
No,
I do. Lucky Chap. When I said that I didn't like any part of the news, the one part I like is that Lucky Chap is producing.
Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too. It's I'm even, again, it was something that I think Olivia Wilde, like you said, Zach, she was already on board with this even pre the invite. They made the invite on a very small budget in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
It was contained movie. It takes place in one room. I think that I just wish she was doing something different post the invite, because I just think that like she'll never be. She was hot post Booksmart. And then Don't Worry, Darling was one that was shaky for a lot of people.
Oh, that thing was a bomb.
And then the invite, I really think her stock has risen even more than Booksmart, because the direction is so tight and it's just such a great movie.
Maybe she's just not a consistent one. Maybe she just likes to do a good one,
banger,
do a
and then
bad one. Like do a. Maybe
Olivia
she
Wilde.
likes the.
We'll see. We don't even know. We
fluctuation
haven't
of
seen anything in the movie yet. So.
I was gonna say too. I think to add on to your point, I'm worried it will hurt her stock if this is not good, because we've seen the invite and we both like know critical successes when we see it, I think, at this point. And that was like across the board, we all love that. And if this is very distant from that, people are not gonna stay on the Olivia Wilde train if she's had the ups and downs so far. I probably would, you guys probably would, but studio movies are dicey, for this kind of
absolutely. One good news for the studios right now, I guess this year we should say, is that the total movie theater box office gross is up 10% this year comparatively to last year. Zach provided the stats for me, so thank you, Zach. Last year at this time, at the end of July, the box office was at $5.16 billion. It's at $5.6 billion as of right now for the end of July. It could surpass $10 billion by the year end, which would be the first time since pre-COVID numbers, 2011. So, this all makes sense to me in terms of some of the movies that have. I mean, there have been some bombs. There have been some movies that have not done. I think that I wouldn't say a bomb. I think it still made money, but like Disclosure Day was one that I think they thought it was going to do a little bit better. Supergirl did not do well at the box office. Moana did not do well at the box office. But then you have things like Project Hail Mary that exceeded expectations. The Odyssey is going to cross $1 billion pretty quickly. Obsession was the biggest one. I mean, Obsession is still making money, folks. If you did not know that, it has a $750,000 budget against now a $438 million win.
The Devil Wears Prada 2
did massive numbers.
Killed it.
So the box office is in a healthy place. Still a lot of good stuff to come. Zach, are you happy about this news? I'm sure you are.
I'm really happy about this. And then we also have big things coming in Dune. We have Avengers Doomsday. Spider-Man is about to come out this weekend. We're recording this. So those are just the superhero blockbusters and big things that we know will perform. Then there's a lot of the awards flicks. Are there other big ones at the end of the year that I'm forgetting?
Practical Magic 2. It's a sequel to an early 2000s, 90s movie. Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. That one could do pretty well. Resident Evil, with the cachet of coming from video game IP, and then Zach Cregger coming off of Weapons. That was a massive success. I think that one's going to do I think that's going to be really big. I think that movie's going to probably do like $400 to $600 million. You have another animated film, Forgotten Island, coming out. Heart of the Beast, I think, is going to do pretty well for the male skewing crowd and people that love dogs. I mean, it's a movie with a dog and an army ranger, so I could see that one doing well. Digger, you have to see kind of how that one turns out. Verity is based on a massively popular Colleen Hoover book. Social Reckoning, more for curiosity.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Street Fighter. There is still a lot of big things coming. Clayface, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So, I mean, I think that it's going to be in a healthy place. I'm being optimistic. I think we will see a surpassing of
10 billion.
10 billion by the end of 2026.
I think
Especially because I think it's almost a guarantee, knock on wood, that you're getting at least 3 more movies that are hitting $1 billion.
Yeah.
Between Spider-Man, Doomsday, and Dune 3. I think all 3 of them are going to hit $1 billion.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yeah.
Cool.
Liz, anything?
I agree with everything that you guys
What
said.
are you most excited to see before the end of the year?
I mean, Dune.
Mm-hmm. What do you think will be the biggest movie?
Of the year.
Oh, like, at least what's left?
And
Like Avengers.
do you think the Odyssey is going to be bigger than any of them?
No, I think Spider-Man will probably take it, but Dune, like, maybe a close second.
Okay. I'm going to also say Spider-Man.
Because I think people are going to see Spider-Man multiple times.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's seeing the Odyssey multiple times.
Yeah, I'm going to say Spider-Man 1. I'm going to say Doomsday is going to be a close second, and that and Dune are going to be close. But again, I think that, Doomsday is supposed to be like a 2-hour, 45-minute runtime. I think that Spider-Man will bring itself to a lot more repeat viewings. But yeah, big news in the industry. So happy for the movies. So this last story is for our New Jersey peeps. We are going to be talking about a series that was just picked up by FX. It's a television network that I love. A lot of their series are now going directly with Hulu with the deal they have for FX on Hulu. The Bear was an FX series. It's going to be a series called Wildwood that's going to take place in Wildwood, New Jersey, down south in the dirty south of the Garden State. This series is going to be written from the creator of Derry Girls named Lisa McGee. It's also her first series set outside the UK. Very interesting that there is a British writer making a series about Wildwood, New Jersey.
I know.
Here we are. It is described as a spiritual successor to Derry Girls, which is about a group of teen Irish schoolgirls in the mid-1990s. This series, titled Wildwood, is going to be set in the summer of 2000. Follows a group of Irish college girls who descend on the neon playground that is Wildwood, New Jersey. They have no money, no visas, no plan, no clue. It's in development, so no news on they're still writing the series, obviously. Hopefully it comes to fruition. We will see what happens. All I know about Derry Girls is that Martin Scorsese loves that show. So it makes me want to go and watch it, especially now knowing that the writer is going to be doing a series based in a place that I spent my senior prom weekend at, getting absolutely shit-faced. So that's interesting. But again, my biggest thing is, like, I can't believe that there's a British writer that's taking this on. So I'm curious, Liz, your experiences with the lovely Wildwood and also what you think about this series potentially.
We all have just like a really ratchet memory of Wildwood. And so like, that's my hope is that
Keep it ratchet.
Yeah. Like Wildwood is literally like the place that everybody remembers, just like, especially in like the 2000s, just being like a like cesspool in a way and just like debauchery going on. I mean, like you could even talk about like the fashion then is when was it? When did the Jersey Shore come out? Like
probably about 5 or 6 years after that.
Right? So like, I don't know, just like the seeds of what like bloomed that maybe. I just don't want this to become like an ideology of like what like other Jersey Shore beaches are
9 years after that.
Okay. Because like Wildwood is so specific.
100%.
So I'm just like really interested of how the lens comes through.
Yeah, I mean,
and I hope she gets some input from like
Jersey people 100%.
That like experience.
You need some Jersey writers on your team. The Derry Girls was semi-autobiographical. I think that's also a big thing. Channel 4, which is a network in the UK, it's their biggest comedy series since 2004. It won Best Comedy at the BAFTAs, the International Emmys, so it has a very large audience everywhere. I'm I'm excited for this one, but like you said, Liz, it's gotta be done right, and I'm curious. I'm excited for a series set in 2000 because I just want Third Eye Blind all over this show. I want people in flip flops, not sandals. I just want to be seeing like the true Jersey Shore in that time period. So I hope that if this series comes to fruition, we do get that. Zach, what are your thoughts on Wildwood?
I want reverse White Lotus. Like, I want a new season of every new group's experience in Wildwood. I want raunchy. I want like none of this. None of this.
No murder mystery. We don't.
No,
Oh,
we don't need
it could be a murder mystery.
Whoa.
I don't
Could be
know.
interesting.
Whoa.
I mean, it's like it's people from a different country too, so I assume that a lot is gonna go wrong in many different ways. But yeah, and then how do you guys feel about this establishing the Jersey community as like just the dirty Jersey Shore people? Like, do you think that's a good or bad thing?
I mean, for the locale, I get it.
Yeah, like you're
Yeah.
picking Wildwood. Like you're not gonna sell Wildwood as like LBI.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not gonna. If you do, then good luck people that go there thinking that like Wildwood's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Because like if you did want to give it a little bit less of like the grime, then you would set it in like Cape May probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be something like this apples never fall or something.
Yeah,
like, it would be
something a little
different
bit
vibe.
more like snooty
And
versus
bougie,
like
yeah.
this sounds like it's gonna be a group of Irish girls who
The neon playground that is Wildwood.
that
New
confuses
Jersey.
that I don't know how I feel about that
I don't
description.
either. It's very
but like,
interesting.
okay.
It's a lot of neon signs when
Making
they're
a
going out
choice?
to the on the boardwalk. Very interesting, but
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
whatever. But it could be interesting, could be fun. Hopefully it comes to series. But that is going to be it for this episode of the Cinema Wave podcast, doing the news with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the stories we covered. What were some of the stories you guys are most interested in? Some things that you guys want to talk about with us. Please leave comments. We respond to all of them on YouTube. We'd love to have a conversation with you guys. We're going to cover the trailers in separate videos, so you guys can check that out on the channel. We're also covering, oh my God, so much on the channel right now. We're wrapping up our coverage of House of the Dragon. We're wrapping up our coverage soon of X-Men 97. We have movie reviews up on the channel. We're getting ready to cover Spider-Man. We're getting ready to cover I Want Your Sex. A lot of big movies coming out, as Zach already said before. So there's a lot of things on the channel for you guys to look at. A lot of stuff on our social media. All that stuff is below me in the video. It's also in our YouTube description, so you guys can find us all on that as well. Thank you guys for watching. Just signing off. I've been Darian Scalamoni.
I'm Liz Seiko.
I'm Zach Miller.
And we'll see you guys next time.
This is The Culture.